welcome to No Such Thing as a Bad Movie podcast. I'm April Atmansky, and I'm here today with...
Justin Haunted Mansion to glue!
And Justin... Oh, wait, and Colin...
Wait, Justin is here too? Ah!
Sorry, I thought your name was Justin.
No, I'm flashing forward. Colin, what the hell did I just watch, Cunningham?
All right, so it's
Oh, no,
October.
Colin's fading from sight, just like the movie.
He's fading out and then fading
And then
back
fading
in.
back
really
in.
quick.
And then there's like
All
a
right.
fart sound effect for some reason.
That was at the beginning, right? Okay,
Yeah.
so we're talking about a movie from the depths of Tubi.
Oh, we
It
are.
was only a matter
you know
of
what?
time.
I feel like we're on the cutting edge of this bad boy.
Okay, so you think this is going to be the next big thing?
Well, like big
It's
thing
not gonna
in
be
bad
next
movie
big
circles,
thing.
definitely. So,
Yeah.
A little background. Someone sent me this movie a little while ago, a filmmaker that I know, and he was like, an actor that's in one of my movies, she starred in this film. She's very embarrassed by it. And,
Oh.
Yeah.
And so he sent me the movie, and then when I looked on Letterboxd, I'm like, oh, it's also on Tubi. And then he's like, what? It is? And yep, so it's very easily accessible. On Tubi, there were only a bunch of 1-star reviews being like, this is very bad. I don't know what they're trying to do. Like,
This is not what I expected from Tubi.
Almost Invisible is the name of
I
this
will
movie.
say the poster of the trailer, as opposed to many Tubi posters, is not a lie. I think it's like a
Yes.
big shot of an ass. That is
Yes.
the movie.
That's the movie.
That is
I'm gonna
literally
pull
this
it up
movie.
now to remind myself.
For
There's
once.
an alternate poster on IMDb, and it's a shot of a different ass. Almost as if like...
Also not a lie.
No.
And also the titles. I mean, yes, there is a ghost girl who you could say is almost invisible.
Yeah.
Now,
But
okay.
that pretty much sums up the movie right there.
Oh, yeah, totally. So
The party's over when you're dead. Who is the director?
The director... Okay, please tell us about this
Okay,
movie,
so
Justin.
I've heard only this secondhand. He may have been a different kind of fella. The production may have been a little bit difficult.
Okay.
Supposedly a dentist.
Okay.
And have you seen his photo on IMDb?
No.
It is wild. Look at it right now. It looks like he didn't know it was being taken. He's on a yacht. He doesn't have a shirt on, sunglasses, 5 o'clock shadow, and there's a woman's leg behind him.
Okay, hold on,
By the way,
hold
the
on.
director is
David Allingham.
Allingham.
Yeah.
You can see the phone reflection in the...
Yep. He's like, this is the best photo I got.
No, that's him like texting and then
Accidentally
like,
taking a photo.
So
Yeah,
taking a photo of
He's
himself.
not even smiling.
he's in this movie. He plays a teacher in the opening sequences.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I will say, so I started watching this movie. People send me stuff all the time. I'm going to be honest. You need to be a trusted source for me to like start watching.
Yeah.
Because like it needs to be something that I'm like, okay, what is this? And like within a minute, I'm like, what the hell is this? I'm going to
Yeah.
watch all of it.
Now, you gave us advice.
Yes.
Before watching this movie. You're like, resist the urge to turn on subtitles.
Yes.
We did for about half an hour.
Yeah,
I
as long as-
know you weren't going to be able to last
It
too
is
long.
impossible. I could not understand what the hell anybody was saying.
But even if you
or-
turn on the subtitles, it doesn't make anything clearer.
it doesn't make any sense.
No.
But at least I could understand the words, and I do think the audio quality gets better as the movie goes on. And I think in the
Yeah.
classroom scene at the beginning, it's like, on camera mic, and it's just impossible to hear what
like
people are saying.
the plot of this film, we'll get into it. It's
Please
pretty,
explain it.
It's straightforward in the sense like people go to a party, supernatural stuff starts happening. That's pretty much all you can follow. What's really wild about this film, and it's going to be difficult to illustrate in an audio medium, is how wild it's shot, edited. Like
Yes.
it feels
And
like
also-
Inland Empire. Like
Oh yeah, I was
like
gonna
a
say,
David Lynch late
I don't
period.
know if this was intentional, but it feels like a dream.
Yeah.
How like scenes will play for like a second and then go into another scene and fade into each other, but I don't think it was. Maybe it was done intentionally.
A second if you're lucky.
It's more confusing.
And it's
than
like
anything.
plays in reverse sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
the repeat scenes.
There's a lot going on with. I mean, this is like a young Christopher Nolan could have directed this. You know what I mean?
Oftentimes, it feels like a Bowfinger, like they were shooting Chubby Rain, and like the actors didn't know they were on camera
It
based
was
on
just like a house party. That they had.
based on the angles and like the weird zooms. And the person who recommended this to me actually pointed out there's some scenes that it's outtakes because the actors are breaking character. And they're like, no,
I got that
this.
feeling. Yeah, I totally got that. And also, some of the dialogue, once we turned it on, they say things very strangely.
Well, it feels like it was translated into a different language and then translated back into English.
That's what
so
said.
I don't know whether it was just the closed cap or whatever, the subtitles like being kind of.
No, it was what they were saying.
It is what they were saying. Okay.
Well,
But
at one point, the closed captions is like, cannot discern what is being said
like,
due to bad audio quality.
It said like indecipherable.
Yeah, I did love and man, there are so many musical cues. Like this,
It's almost wall to wall music.
there is this wall to wall music. Like one song finishes, the next one starts playing.
No,
It's
it
just
doesn't. It
constantly.
doesn't finish songs.
Okay.
In between a song, it will cut to a new song happening in a different scene, and then back, and then cut back and forth again, like constantly.
So we got to get into this because I feel like, I'm sorry, dear listener, I'm going to try to make this as interesting as possible, but it will be us explaining something and being like, how did this get made? Like, what were they thinking?
Yeah, you might just need to see it for yourself, but
I think you
kudos
do.
to you if you get through this movie.
It's worth it. This is not a film I would put on at a party because I think the people would be like, what is this? Where did you find this?
I think they would just be too confused.
Oh, they would check out in like 30 seconds flat. Like,
Well, I mean,
Get outta
okay,
here.
so it opens with the credits being written on cards in reverse. There's music playing in reverse. There's like weird flashes and colors.
yeah, you're like, oh my God, is this Memento?
And then there's a shot going into a fridge.
Yeah,
That's it. And I'm like, wait, what?
A lot of this movie felt like a movie you would make in high school with your friends, with your parents' camcorder.
Are you saying like you're looking at me?
I mean like,
I
you
would be
know,
making
like
this?
you put a camera in the fridge and then you have a character open the fridge and say, "Hey man, anything to
but that
drink?"
sounds
like that kind of
that
stuff.
sounds more interesting than what this movie is, where it's like the filmmaker, it feels like they've never seen a movie before.
And they're incredibly lecherous and horny. Well, at some point I
they're
thought, like,
so horny.
is this
Jesus
a porno? And they just cut out the sex scenes.
Yeah, April was convinced that it was a porno that they cut down into like a regular movie.
Yeah.
So we open with a scene we'll later learn is a flash forward where people are yelling at some other people on a roof, and they jump, I guess. The opening is very unclear.
You don't know, you only hear it through audio.
Yeah.
And their reaction, and like everything is shot like really tight, like
Oh, yeah.
way
and,
too
and
close.
get used to it, is what I'll say.
Yeah, very, very close, and a lot of shaking going on.
These days, people get away with murder, is what it says on screen in titles. This has nothing to do with the rest of the movie. So.
Yeah, it's very bizarre. And then we get another set of opening credits.
Yep.
With set to like completely different music.
So it says songs by David Allingham in this opening, the name of the director.
Oh.
So he's taking credit for the songs of this.
Okay.
Hey, some of which I actually thought were okay.
Yeah, I was like, April, you should be loving this.
Well,
At
it
one
was
point,
like
it sounds like a
nu metal.
Bloodhound Gang song is playing.
It's like fake, Stained, fake Stone Temple Pilots,
Yes.
fake Korn. Like it's like grunge and new metal,
Yeah.
and then there's some funk thrown in there.
This
also,
is all I'm like picturing is like April having house parties back in like, the 2000s, the early 2000s.
I want to ask you guys, so the movie opens and we see the very old teenagers going to class. When did you go, what is this movie? Like, what am I watching?
I as soon as they cut to the classroom, because you there's this like naked woman on a couch, and you're like, what is going on?
So they're all in class, and then it cuts to a naked woman on a couch with a Band-Aid on her hand.
Yeah, who's
which-
like, attractive, but she seems like a little older, and then
And she
like
seems
a guy
very
comes
confused.
in. Yeah, and she's like fully nude. And then you realize, oh, they're watching a movie, and then they cutting around this classroom so fast, you can't barely understand
Oh,
who is talking.
and you're
what
like,
is
oh, I
happening?"
hope it'll slow down, right, for the rest of the movie? No, never.
Everything. It's insane. It's like the kind of like last act of Goodfellas when he's like on speed
For
and
like
cocaine.
for 95 minutes. Yeah.
They're
I'm
cutting
like-
to a shot of a panty shot of a woman playing with a tack on a chair.
Okay, yeah.
Which makes no sense.
Cameraman will take any opportunity to shoot a crotch and
A lady crotch.
back of an ass.
Yes.
Yeah.
Constantly.
There's a guy that has like a real like Greg Sestero energy.
Yeah.
In the movie.
Drew.
Did you, okay, so you took the names down? I was trying to get like.
No, I just remembered.
Okay.
And Drew is constantly staring into the camera when they cut to him. And in this opening scene, he's just playing with his nipples. And there's
Is
like
that what he's doing?
massive close-ups. And so I had the subtitles on here, and I took some of the lines down. And they make like, someone goes like, I'm never going to have kids. And you're like, huh? What? Why?
Yeah. I guess because they might grow up to make a bad movie like they're watching in class. I don't know.
Is he
And so,
gay?
like-
How do you spell rectum? This is all like
Yes.
like background audio. You don't see the people saying it. It's just, this film is also constant dialogue.
Yeah.
Yes, constant dialogue, music, and edits.
Yes.
It's just like it never stops.
And
you don't
video
know-
transitions.
You don't know where you are.
Oh
you
yeah,
don't know
it's
where
like
you are
someone like
spatially.
It's like
Yeah.
a Brewster's Million situation where they're like, if you don't use a million video effects, like you'll die or something like that. So they're like, ah!
But yeah, so they put a tack on Drew's chair. So I get this. I think Drew is kind of like the outcast.
But
of
he's
the group.
not. He's like the
Not
leader
really.
of the gang
Yes.
for the rest of the
But no,
movie.
later he says to Goth Girl, because she's like, "Oh, you don't have any money, so why do they keep you around?" or something like that. So I guess he's like the poor kid or something.
No, they don't put the tack on Drew. They put the tack on the filmmaker. God, we're gonna
Do
have so much
they?
difficulty. Yeah, they do.
There's another D
There's
name.
Devin.
Yeah, there's Devin. Devin is the filmmaker, and it feels like
Okay.
Devin's going to be the outcast of the group, but he's not. They're all
No.
pals.
And then there's another character
Ain.
named Ain.
Ain?
And then
All my life, I've never heard of the
A-N-E.
name.
What about the
Ain.
person that's called Jeopardy?
Yeah, there's a
Jeopardy.
girl called Jeopardy.
Jeopardy and
Oh,
Ain.
what about, we're going to get to one character who I hope a person
Oh,
on this
right.
podcast have a connection to.
I almost forgot about April.
Yep.
Oh.
She's a big character in the movie.
You know, that might be my favorite thing. The fact that a character has my name in a movie.
You could go.
Doesn't
for
happen very
Halloween.
often.
And it was like you in
guys.
high school. Are they in high school or college? They're very
I think
old.
they're supposed to be early college, but
Okay.
I said to Colin, I was like, yeah, I went through a goth phase in high school, so
Mm-hmm.
it kind of looked like this girl.
So is it like implied that they're watching this movie in
Yes.
class?
So it was
Yeah.
Devin presented the movie, but they don't react to it. And then they leave the
yeah.
classroom.
because it's not showing. The teacher says a bunch of stuff.
The teacher says some great stuff. He's like, Monday, sex between women. Just kidding. And you're like, what?
God. The horniness is ridiculous, but it's like so stupid. Also, okay, so all of these actors are actors. They're not friends of the director.
No,
because
they were
all
hired.
gorgeous.
Yes.
like they're all the men and the women all look like they could be models.
And they're all
So
white.
Yeah, no. Well, there's one Latina gal.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
There is.
But yeah, so I'm like, okay, this is like a Neil Breen thing. Like he went to Craigslist.
Yep.
and
That's
got
exactly
some
what he did,
beautiful
I
people.
believe.
Okay, that makes sense.
I don't know.
Because
They're
they're
all-
not great actors. I mean, some are better than others. April's pretty
They're
good.
not
She's okay.
terrible.
You know.
Did you notice in that scene where they're walking down the hall, it holds on the wall and a whiteboard starts falling? And you're like, ah! And then it just cuts away. All right, so the one thing that people need to understand about this movie, there's no geography in scenes. You don't know
No.
where you are. It'll just cut like right to a close-up of someone's face in the
People
middle
will
of a conversation.
change positions constantly.
Yeah, you have no like. I don't know. You have no understanding where you are, kind of temporally,
Yeah,
or
or spatially.
Spatially,
Yeah.
So you don't know. It's like, am I in the future, the past?
Like there's a scene where they're all in a diner and one character goes, find us a place to raise our children, harvest our crops. And I'm like, what? They're talking about having a party.
Okay.
And that feels like an auto translation.
It's weird. So we were convinced. I
This is
think like
before-
halfway through when we turned on the subtitles. When we started
Yeah.
watching it. We were convinced. We didn't see the director's name at the beginning. We're like, okay, he's like ESL. So this is like,
Oh, you thought
You
maybe
know.
it was like a Love on a Leash situation.
oh yeah,
yeah, or Troll 2.
Yeah. Maybe. I don't know.
Claudio
I don't know the director well
Fargasso.
enough. Yeah.
I mean, he has a pretty American sounding name, but who knows, right? Who did he write it to?
Yeah. What do you think?
The thing is, though, it's like they didn't give people lines, and yet why are they saying such weird? Why is everyone? It's like a David Lynch.
Yeah,
movie.
everything is phrased very strangely. I'm like, who talks like that?
This movie has 3 editors as well, and you will be shocked to learn the director is one of them.
Well, if anything,
He did the final edit.
it should win the award, the Oscar for best editing because
Most
it has
editing.
the
Yeah,
most
most-
editing, right? This
So wait,
might
all
be
these
the most
people-
I've ever seen.
All these people are at a diner. They're talking about they want to have a party. And then suddenly a woman comes up named April. She's a goth. And she's like, hey, my parents are gone this weekend. Why don't you come to my house? They don't know who she is. Some of
I think
them say-
one girl knows her.
Yeah,
and she's
because she
like,
says, my
"Oh,
mom forced me to be nice.
Yeah.
And okay, let's go to her house to have a party. There's a shot in the sequence that I like defines the movie for me, where they're getting up, and then it cuts to a woman running a credit card up the butt of another woman, and she's like, cash, debit, or credit, and you're like, huh? Wait, what?
I remember it being a guy's butt. Did I just?
No, it's a woman's butt.
know.
Did I just put that in my brain?
You can tell. By
I
the
thought
way,
it was like guys goofing around. being
No,
like,
it's a woman doing it
"What?"
to another woman.
Okay.
I mean,
girls
later
goofing
on in the
around.
scene, someone goes, man, I'm starved, and then they fart.
Yeah.
makes no
Later in the
sense.
movie, there's a guy whose pants explode out the butt, and we don't know if that was a fart-related thing or what.
Yeah, he stands
Ah, man,
up.
I watch this very carefully, and I don't remember this part.
He has a busted butt in his jeans the whole movie.
Yeah, he's the
Oh,
guy who-
no, I think that was a style. I don't think he farted so hard.
It's
Oh, yeah, I do
apparently
have that
a
in my
style,
notes.
But we were so confused. He's the guy who like passes out and then
Yeah.
like pisses on the couch.
On a
Or
couch.
something.
Oh, we're treating the movie. We're treating
Yeah,
the
I know,
podcast
I
like the
know.
movie. We're jumping
But
around.
when he stands up,
Yeah, his ass is out.
His ass is completely blown out. Like I don't know, like he had a half stick of like an M80 or something in his back pocket.
Or like he farted so.
Yeah, and we're like, is it implied that he farted
I
so
think
bad?
he does fart though.
Yeah.
It's hard to remember what
So
even happened.
all these friends, they take April's advice and they decide to go to her house. Which they walk up to it. It looks like a house out of an FMV game. There's like CGI clouds floating in the air.
A gigantic moon.
Yeah.
There was like a credit for visual effects, and we were like, what visual effects?
So supposedly this
Oh.
movie costs a lot of money. That's what I've heard.
What?
Yes, because they had a full
I mean,
crew.
Oh my God.
This is what they ended up with, and they had a full crew.
So all
they,
the friends
obviously
are-
they pay the actors. Too.
All the no, I won't go into that. So all the friends are walking up to the house, and this is where I'm like, I'm losing my mind because there's these flash freeze frames, but nothing is happening. Like they're just
Yes.
like, hey, let's go up here.
Yeah.
Hey, why don't we go?
They're using every trick in the book.
It's just supposed to be creepy.
Come on, no,
But-
it's just like flashy.
The thing
so
is,
to speak.
you got to be sparing with that stuff. I mean, I remember the early 2000s, which by the way, this came out in 2010. It's got very like 1999 sensibility to it.
Feels so much like
And I don't
a
know
late
if it's just
90s
the
movie.
The
cameras
towers
or what?
just fell. Is basically how it feels.
Yeah.
When,
Like it made me like okay. Speaking of like that style, remember like the first Saw, the kind of
Yeah,
like editing.
yeah.
well,
It's
also
not
everyone
quite
has like
that.
frosted tips in the movie
Yeah,
too.
you can see
Yeah.
like frosted tips and like boot cut jeans and stuff
and
like
also
that.
a big T-shirt with a long sleeve shirt underneath
Oh,
it.
Yeah.
what a
like
style!
like Josh Hartnett in The Faculty, like that. They look like that. Oh, and chains I saw on one of the pants.
Yeah.
So did this just take a long time to come out,
holes
or was
blown
it,
out in their asses, of
or
their
was it
pants.
actually shot in 2009? I don't know.
It's quite possible. Maybe the
Maybe it
VFX
shot in
took, like-
2002 and it took like 8 years to come out. That
Yeah.
would not shock me.
Yeah, the
Well,
music.
I mean, when they get there, they're like, "Put on some tunes," and one guy's like, "Oh, this music is 3 years old." And you're like,
Yeah, they're
"Wait,
going
what?"
through her CD collection. Well, first of all, they're like, yeah, we'll go to her place and party it up. And the guy's like, Simon, we're going to party a little too hard and trash the place.
And
But
the
you
one
know
girl's
it's
like,
like, okay, this is a low budget movie. They're not going to be able to trash anything.
Well,
because this is
they
like-
do trash it a little bit.
Yeah, but it's like, this is somebody's like mother's house.
This is like every party you had in 2002, right? Because they get there, they put music on, they start dancing by slapping their faces, and then they're also sword fighting with
like pokers from the
pokers.
fireplace or something.
Someone is making their toes black with a Sharpie.
Sure.
Yeah,
well,
classic
that's how
party
you paint.
stuff.
How you
You didn't
paint
do
your
that?
nails.
Come
No,
on,
I never did that. Did you guys do that?
No, this is how you
no
trash
way.
a house, man.
Oh, we used to do white out on the nails.
Really?
Yeah, that's just stuff you do when you're bored.
I used to love the smell of whiteout.
Ugh.
Oh no,
paper?
we're getting high off whiteout, Colin?
Yeah, man.
It feels like the filmmaker got high on whiteout before he made this movie. Wait, so they go to the hot tub. They hang out there.
Okay, yeah. This is where it gets very kind of softcore porno-y.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, the camera is right up there in the asses.
Or it's really high looking down.
Oh, yeah. It's like boobs and asses, like right up, kind of like 45-degree angle. And it's, yeah. I mean, they talk about movies being very chaste now and like, nobody has sex. Or
Yeah,
like,
the Zoomers are like, no, aren't the Zoomers are like, I don't like sex anymore. It's a violation of the characters on screen.
It's like, it's just not realistic. I can tell they're actors. It's like, just get it out of the way. I don't want to see this. Well, watch this movie, man, because...
Yeah, because you're going to see the
everybody's-
women walk in slow motion up to the... And there's too many people in that hot tub.
Oh, God, yeah.
There's
Gonna
like
get
12 people in a hot tub.
conjunctivitis.
That's just what you did at a party. And get used to these bathing suits, people.
Oh,
Well, they go
Kudos
away.
to-
and then they come back.
Yeah.
Yeah, kudos to them because, like, yeah, they're in hot tubs and like bathing suits. They're in the bathing suits pretty much for the entire movie. And then
There's a
people are
lightning storm going on, which is
people are complaining
illustrated
about,
by
like-
stock lightning.
Yeah, and then they say they're going to go out, and they're like, "Oh, it's freezing outside. We got to put our jackets on."
It's
But
like
they're
you were all... I mean, they were in the hot tub, so,
My friend, okay, so our friends had like a wedding at somebody's cottage, and there was a hot tub. There's a lot of stuff going on in the hot tub. I heard later.
Conjunctivitis?
Yeah,
Oh, really?
everyone got
Really?
anti. Yeah,
Oh, gross.
they were like dunking their heads in the hot tub.
You
and, like,
never put your head
opening
under.
their eye. Like, do
Oh,
not,
God.
do not do that.
Also, you're not supposed to have sex in a hot tub.
Well, I don't know what was going on in the hot tub. I was nowhere near it.
They were shitting.
Yeah.
That's how you get conjunctivitis.
Oh God!
So wait, where did the story go? Were they ghosts?
What, at
my
the wedding?
story?
Yeah, because it was a big long silence. You're like, oh my God. And then I was like, and then they were
No,
ghosts
that was
in the
pretty
hot
much
tub.
it. It was just like, thinking,
So we get out of the hot tub, and then, oh God, I don't remember their names. It's Drew, the guy with the long sleeves under the t-shirt.
Yeah, Greg
yeah.
Sestero
Okay,
guy.
are you sure it's not Ain?
I'm not sure who Ain is.
Yeah, so let's call him Greg. That'll be easier for. He meets
Okay.
April, and then it cuts to like a very graphic sex scene
Yes.
going on somewhere, or maybe it's a flash forward.
Yeah,
don't
and
know.
then this kind of happens a little while, and then it's like... It's kind of like Cuckoo, where it's like the scene like repeats, you know?
Yeah.
And the sex scene happens again, and you're like, are these the same people? And
Oh,
like,
you're
things
thinking of
are
something else.
repeating.
No, because Greg
there's too
follows April into a cubbyhole where she has drawings of him on the wall.
Yeah, I
think.
was like, is this like a... you're like, you're not sure. Is this like a shrine? She's like, this is just where I used to go.
Well, did you have like, in your house, like
A crawl space?
well,
No.
I remember like the house that I grew up in. We had this like little kind of
Yeah, there
my
was one
brother-
at the house where I grew up in too.
It was like downstairs. It was like an unfinished basement, and there was kind of like a little kind of hidey hole under the stairs.
It's always under the stairs.
Oh, you
yeah.
know what? We had one of those too. We kept
Yeah.
our like Christmas
And
decorations.
then my brother
in
and I
there.
would like put up like we'd put drawings up and like tack them on the wall or something.
Well, this
like
is a
that.
little bigger than that because there's
Yeah.
like a bed in there.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is maybe
2 people and a camera crew. Anyway, it's highly suggested that she is a ghost.
Yeah, well, she keeps disappearing.
That's the only like explanation that you can.
Well, they're like having sex and making out, and it keeps cutting to the wide where he's just
He's like, there's no one there.
he's flailing with like
yeah,
the air.
yeah, he's touching no one.
So
That was
there's a
pretty
great sound, like the song rules in this scene because it's like, look at her abs, the queen of crisis with fright, and you're like,
the lyrics
"Huh?"
to these songs. Yeah,
Definitely the director then.
And the camera, the actors are always looking right into the camera. They're like, huh?
yeah.
It's just like the POV from
Yeah.
April.
The goes.
The goes.
But then the party is going wild, and this is what April was mentioning: is that there's like a woman having sex with multiple men.
Yeah.
It's very confusing.
It goes back and forth, where she's like not gonna have sex with one guy, then she has sex with someone else, but then it cuts to her in
Like
bed with the
after.
first guy. Yeah.
yeah,
and
and,
the
then
first
they say
guy-
like the same like line. It's weird.
Yeah,
What?
we kind of see her later with the same guy that she doesn't want to have sex with, but then his face is always covered by a pillow, and then he's lying like face down on the bed afterwards.
Yeah.
So
what I liked is that she leaves and the guy's left in bed and he's like, "Oh, you coming back?" And to indicate a ghost is in the room, they smudge the bed with like the Photoshop smudge tool, so it looks like it's bending.
It goes like, wow. Yeah, it looks bad. And then later the same thing happens to the door. I don't know if it's that bedroom.
Like The Haunting, but done with Photoshop, with the door bending.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It has like a little,
speaking
like,
of door
bubble.
bendings, they do a bending door in this one.
But that's what we were just talking about. Or is there a different one you're referencing?
No, it wasn't the smudge filter. It was like the door is like.
Oh yeah,
what-
yeah.
yeah.
That's
Oh, is that what you were talking
That's
about?
what we were talking about.
Oh,
Yeah.
son of a bee. I'm sorry.
Colin
but-
had a flash forward to early, like later, and then he's zooming back. That's what's happening.
There's so many like weird like character things in this. Like there's a thread where it's like the girls are like mad at the guys because they're going to like play pranks on them. I think they're like
Is
upset. Yeah,
What?
and they're like because everything they're like, oh, they're just like messing around once like weird stuff happens, and like that's a thing.
Something weird about this movie is it feels very technically shaky, and maybe the person didn't know what they were doing, but then suddenly there'll be a speed racer style like transition of like the
Yeah,
camera
it's
will be
Screens.
crossing like an object, and then it'll like wipe with that object, and you're like, wait a minute.
That's the thing. It's like you say it's that the filmmaker had never seen a film before
Yeah.
or something like that. But I think the opposite. I think it's like they're pushing the boundaries of what
cinema can be.
of. Exactly. There's some artistry. They're really
What is cinema?
They're trying. It isn't lazy, and I think they're trying for something.
But watching this movie, I
Clearly.
don't know how they shot it. Unless he shot it with like 3 cameras, and he was like, just capture whatever you want in the scene, and
Well,
I'll
it's all
edit.
first of all, it's all handheld,
Yeah.
right?
Very handheld.
Like later, you can see like he's just circling somebody on the lawn, like,
Sure,
and I'm
yeah.
like, again, that just looks like stuff I used to film.
He's at least like trying for a style.
Too much style.
Whether he's capable, way too
if
much.
there
style.
ever was a style over substance in a movie,
he's trying for all the styles,
Like,
all in one movie.
I love the scene where the woman, after having sex, looks in the window and she gets goosebump eyes, like
yeah,
like the dog does.
yep, and that happens again to another character.
Yeah.
And what does that mean? We don't know.
I don't.
It doesn't matter.
All right,
is
so
anything?
spoiler alert: the house.
Spoiler alert.
Well, I was gonna say the house is haunted, but I think it's just an evil house.
But is it the woman
No, it's
who's
both.
haunting the house?
Okay, I think it's just the woman haunting the house.
Well, because she's like, I can't leave, even though she left in an earlier scene and went to the diner.
Yeah.
Yeah, wait a minute.
Okay,
and then
she's playing fast and loose with the ghost rules.
I don't think because it's clearly the house. The house. That's all they. That's what the whole second half of the movie. And April's like, hey, sometimes it does this, sometimes it does that. I don't know.
Okay, I have a feeling when it's revealed at the end, yes, that she died years ago.
And she's trapped in this like evil
I think
house,
she
guess.
she killed herself.
Yeah.
Whether it was the
Yeah.
house that made her do that. So I think she's just trapped in the house, and this is just like her energy kind of making these things happen.
Yeah, and they even say like there was another house here, and
Yeah, they
then
built
a
it
new
over
one
the
got
house.
Built, yeah. But
okay,
yeah,
so maybe it's like
but you're right. I think maybe she's in more control of things happening than she wants because when Drew like gets hanged, it seems like she did that.
Yeah, but
And
then he
I'm-
comes back.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was so confusing because obviously
The way
they
it's
can't.
shot.
They have no way of hanging this person. So,
So it's like an awkward close up
There's a
of him just
lot.
being like, oh.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff like that. Where just like kind of shoes or in front of the camera, in front of people's faces.
It's shot in a way that like filmmaker Doris Wishman, she didn't have sync sound, so she would shoot a lot of close-ups of feet and hands. When you see their lips, it feels like that. Like they couldn't shoot sync sound, so it's like, oh, here's an ass, so you don't have to look at someone's face.
Oh yeah, that's like the
gratuitous
cameraman.
ass shots every 2 seconds. And yeah, like I mean, what can you say? Things just kind of escalate and get crazier and crazier.
Well, they don't escalate because they're just so crazy, and then they just continue to be that
Yeah.
way. So we
Crazy.
didn't. Okay, so yeah, like about 35 minutes in. So in my notes, I wrote time codes because otherwise I'd be like, "Where is this? What is going on?" That's when the guy on the couch gets up. You see the huge hole in the back of his pants, and then he pisses on the couch
Yes.
while lighting while holding a lighter in his hands. That's on.
For some reason.
While this is going on, two characters leave to get supplies.
Yeah, they're getting
Yes,
beer.
that's
and they
right.
will not stop going down on each other, which causes a car accident.
Car accident, and then they end up in the ER, which I
And again,
thought maybe this is his dentist
This
office.
is so confusing.
I love it. They're like, deer, deer, deer. And it's like a shaky shot of a deer.
Yeah, it's
But
like they're doing it while they're driving, and there's a deer, and there's
But it doesn't make any sense. Okay, so they like get in an accident. Of course, they can't show a car crashing, so
No.
it's just like sound effects. They show another car that's like smashed into a tree, which is like
which has an elderly couple inside of it.
It's a convertible Porsche, I think.
And they're very nonplussed about it. Plus, they're like, oh no, what happened?
Yeah,
That's it.
And so the kind of young couple, they're trying to like get them out of the car, blah blah blah, and then the young couple seem like unharmed. All of a sudden, the young couple are at the hospital with the elderly.
And then the elderly couple mentioned there's a party at our house tonight.
There's a party at their house.
Whoa.
The young couple leave the room, decide to go back and help the elderly couple. They go back
Help
in the
them
room,
do what? I don't know.
and the elderly couple are gone.
Dun dun dun.
So you don't know. It's so confusing what is happening. It's
Well-
like-
And we skipped over the fact that like they made eggs in a microwave for some reason.
I guess that was like a prank.
That was just shenanigans. See, they're doing pranks.
That
It was like
their,
a shenanigan.
That was their version of like, you know,
Trashing the house.
the house.
Yeah.
Something
Now we're gonna
about the
put in-
movie that's very confusing is it's very difficult to kind of pinpoint when the characters realize something supernatural is going on.
Yes.
Because they're so crazy during the entire movie. They're partying. At one point we cut back to them. They're just throwing like the frames of tables in the room.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So they did kind of make a mess of this house.
Yeah.
You said they can't, but they
If
did
you guys
a little
go
bit.
on Twitter, I posted a clip from the movie when like the April character starts like levitating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she just like she levitates and then it cuts to like a woman's bikini crotch and then it cuts to
Yeah.
a guy going, "You got a badge." And they're like, "Hey, what's going on up there? You got to apologize to her. You need to apologize." And she's like, and then CGI flies show up.
Yeah, so she made the plagues happen of Egypt.
Yeah, I don't know.
flies, and only the women are reacting to the flies. And like later, they're like people will just say weird things like, this isn't real. None of it's real. Like the movie itself almost.
Yeah.
Well, they kind of they kind of like.
Oh,
start
they're all in
realizing-
bikinis now, and we don't know when they got back in their bikinis.
No.
Yeah.
After they like somebody had said before they went on the food run or whatever.
Yeah.
They were complaining about how cold it was outside. So I don't know. It doesn't matter. I was saying it was like if David Dakota like.
It does feel like David Dakota-ish.
wasn't gay, and he was just like
Without the
shooting
formal
women.
control of David Dakota.
Well, I think even David Dakota shot lots of nudie stuff too.
Oh yeah. He
Sure.
did.
Before he
but
did
it-
just the
just the boy
male
topless stuff?
oriented
Yeah, for
stuff.
sure.
Yeah.
Well, he has a whole movie called Nightmare Sisters.
Oh, there
that
you
the
go.
sisters themselves are perhaps topless and in panty bottoms for the entire movie.
All right.
The
well,
whole bikini thing, it's like later one of the characters puts on a sweater, still bikini
Still
bottom.
bikini
no,
bottoms.
No pants.
Now, how did you guys react when they suddenly like, we got to get out of here? They pick up a chair, they break a window, and then the window
Yeah.
reforms around their arm.
Well, I was like, oh my God, they broke a window for this movie.
I was shocked.
Yeah,
But
like
I'm
the
not-
T-1000.
Yeah,
but the
okay.
actors don't seem to have been given direction about what's happening.
The breaking of the window seemed real though, and I was actually
that
shocked.
was real. That was real. Yeah.
Okay.
So what did they do? They didn't break a real window. They must have had a sugar
A plate?
glass. Yeah.
I don't know. Like
Because
April
the
was
window
saying-
looks CGI before it breaks.
Yeah, but the
But
way
then
it breaks
it's real,
looked real. Yeah.
Well, April was saying that maybe it was a very wide window, so she was saying that maybe they had like a sliding door, and then they just put
yeah.
like a
They
fake
put a piece of
pane of
glass up, I guess.
don't know.
But what's important is the glass reforms around a man's arm.
I was very confused about this. Yeah, so
He's
they-
like,
they-
call a contractor or something.
It's like the house is like trapping them, and they can't get out, so they like smash the glass. Yeah, he tries to come back, and it's almost like kind of liquid glass or something.
Yeah.
Oh, they're like the T-1000.
His arm is stuck, and then the other guy like helps him. He pulls him back in.
The glass breaks and then it reforms again, and they look so unsurprised by all of this.
Yeah, well, they don't know. Yeah, the director's like, it'll look great in post.
Yeah.
Don't worry about
So I guess now as we're realizing we can't get out of the house.
it. And then like the couple who was doing like, I don't know, whatever, the food run or beer run, come back. They're trying to like.
Well, no,
get
they're
into
still
the
making
house.
out in the car, I think.
Oh, right.
Yeah. They try to have sex in the car for a long time. My favorite scene
Yeah, it
happens
goes on
around
forever.
here, which is that two women are on the ground and they suddenly go, "Whoa, where'd this piano come from?"
Okay. That was so confusing.
And then they
So-
go, "Stinky." And then the piano stinks.
I missed that, but I think the idea is it was supposed to fall on them.
Yes, that's what was supposed to.
But it was done so poorly.
it was so badly conveyed and so confusing. It looked like
She's
something.
like, where did this come from?
It's kind of already there, and something just kind of wipes through camera.
I think maybe they just did like a 2-frame, like let's lift it up,
Yeah.
down.
I think the camera
know.
shakes a little bit too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so confusing, like everything else in this fucking movie.
There's like the dialogue. I know we keep saying it, but like there's a scene where they look at each other and go "Zang, Zang," and I'm like, "What the hell? What is Zang?"
It's an inside joke, I guess.
Yeah.
It's the only explanation.
That's how kids talk, man.
One character goes like, "I'm resolved to keep this a stress-free evening."
Oh,
Like
yeah.
supernatural stuff starts happening.
And I mean, it's life or death. It's around this time that characters start committing suicide, and you're like, well, is it real? Turns out it is real.
It
At
is
least
real. They're
two
dead. They don't
characters-
come back.
Yeah, are dead. Yeah.
Well, yeah. One, it looks like a knife jumps out and slits her throat.
Well, I think that was her. She did
Okay.
it, right? But the guy who's like in the laundry room or something, the wallet chain guy, does he stab himself?
No, he gets
oh, no.
thrown into the. Remember, there's like a CG effect of him being like, "Woo!"
Yeah, and
thrown
his like
backwards.
intestines are coming out.
Yeah.
Oh, he gets thrown into the garage
Yes.
door.
Yeah.
It's very because what happens is, isn't it like the people that are trapped outside who are trying to have sex
Right.
can't get into the house, so they're like, oh, we'll drive into the garage door. But
Yeah.
as they drive forward, the garage door turns invisible,
Yeah.
and then they
Almost
drive in,
invisible.
hit the guy who flies back with CG.
Oh God.
Oh right, God, that was terrible. And then speaking of CG, later Greg he gets hung, but he's okay. And then he's in the bedroom upstairs, and there's all these like floating objects, including
This looks
a
like-
makeup brush that comes and brushes his head and then flies away.
This
It's a
is-
stock effect.
When you get like Adobe After Effects and you learn how to like move stuff around,
You just like roto and translate.
yeah, this is what everybody does.
Yeah, and it was very, very funny. But
So
it's
you're
like,
saying it's pretty cool.
but there's no like logic. Like crazy things just happen.
Well, it's not scary
Well,
because
no.
there's no grounding in
Well,
anything.
do you see like, you know,
You don't know where
you
anyone
remember that
is.
classic scene from Poltergeist when they go into the kid's bedroom and all the toys are flying
I guess
around?
that's what that was.
You know?
But yeah, like they somehow figure out that if Greg makes out with April,
Is that what they figure out?
yeah, because
Like-
it's not really like, hey guys, I
Wait,
got it.
somebody
Let's
gets
do
their
this.
hand?
It's just like he does it, and they're all like watching and waiting as if it was a preconceived plan.
Okay.
somebody gets their hand stuck in a garbage disposal, but
God.
it's so sudden. I was like, wait,
That
how
was
did
the
that
girl
happen?
who cut. I think it was the girl who cut her throat because she was possessed. I guess.
No, she's in the bathroom, remember? Because she dies in the shower.
Oh, right.
You don't get blood anywhere.
The two girls kill themselves.
This is like trying to explain
I know.
Inland Empire.
It's like you can't-
and
with a
then
Tina
she's
girl-
It's like without
yeah.
the visuals, it's impossible. Like you just have to watch.
Even with the visuals, it's impossible.
yeah. Okay.
Oh, because April and is it Greg or Devin? They're in the room and they make like a lot of, focus on a lamp that's just floating
Yeah, but it's
in the
just
air.
someone holding it off screen.
Yeah,
which was
it's like-
pretty
it's like
funny.
fishing
Yeah.
wire
But yeah,
or
I don't know
something.
what that was.
Yeah.
Not like what significance was that? I
Oh,
don't
it's like
know.
the house is going crazy.
Anyway,
Yeah.
I mean,
It looks like the lamp closes a window at one point.
yeah.
Yeah, I guess it is like Hausu or something.
Yeah, that's what it feels like.
Yeah,
Yeah, because
yeah.
the guy that's trying to get in, it knocks him off the roof, and then he has like an insane line of dialogue where the woman goes, "My man is strong and smart," and then he goes, "You married Lucky." Then she goes, "We're not married," and then he goes, "Yeah, you can say it," and you're like, "Wait, what?"
What is
Who
that?
speaks like this?
Oh my
It
god.
was like AI dialogue before AI.
Yeah, like honestly, we can't even say like all the funny weird things that happen in this movie.
You can't convey that.
Well,
It's
like
just-
in the last half hour, it kind of gives up the ghost
Yeah.
of linearity because you're seeing flashbacks. Scenes are playing in reverse. All of a sudden, like funk music, it's like
Yeah.
I
I feel like it does slow down the editing
does,
a little
bit in the middle.
Yeah, and also as you mentioned, the audio seemed to get better, where
you
it's
can
not
actually-
just ADR.
You can actually hear what people are saying.
It sounded
And
like
this is
people
when
were
people start going up, like they keep disappearing, like they're walking
Yeah.
upstairs, they disappear. Like they must have downloaded a blue filter because they keep throwing it over.
Yeah, I mean that keeps happening. But
I guess that's like the ghost POV. Is that what that's supposed to be?
see, I feel like
guess.
the only person that knows this is the director because it's like
I don't think he can explain it though.
It's impossible.
Oh man,
to tell.
you gotta get this on Blu-ray. Does he have like a commentary track?
A commentary? I feel like this movie kind of escaped more than it got released. I don't think it got a DVD release.
Oh, that'd be good.
Look.
I wonder if
He
he's on
must
Twitter.
have put it on Tubi, unless he sold it to some
What if he's in a
production
band?
Some, like,
company.
You can,
well,
like,
there's no
download the
production
album.
company credits at the beginning, so maybe
Oh.
it is. God, I have the movie playing in front of me. We cannot emphasize how many shots of butts there are in this film.
Like,
Yeah.
it's insane.
It is
It's-
constant.
If it's not butts, it's crotches. But yeah, the
Oh,
man knew
there
what he
was a
liked.
DVD. Who put it out?
So,
Oh, so it was a company called Chemical Burn, and they were like a very like low budget DVD company. I remember seeing them back at HMV in like 2010. So they probably sold it to Tubi if they had the rights to it. I'm making air quotes.
yeah. Well, I mean, we're getting to the end. What is you guys' favorite thing?
What is
Oh,
your
I like when the
guys'
piano
favorite
appears.
thing? What are you, what are you, a
what
New
did you-
Yorker?
What did you say, Justin?
When the piano appears
Oh, the
and they
piano,
hold their nose
yeah.
like it stinks.
Yo, yeah, that's great. I love like the ass blown out guy. That's really funny.
That pisses
But I
on the
also
couch.
like genuinely like the okay, he's going for something with the editing style, whether he's successful or not.
Yeah.
You know, no, he's
And,
not.
like-
but he's
Yeah.
trying for something. He's trying for all the things.
We've watched
Little too
many
much.
bad movies that are just boring. It's just scenes of people talking and saying, pointless dialogue that, is really just, exposition. I don't think I could call what happens in this movie exposition. It's more just like random threads of things that could mean things, but we don't really know. We don't really know what they mean.
At one point, there's a flashback, and it's unclear what's happening. Someone's talking to the camera, and then it cuts back to the guy going, "Yeah, that's probably what happened." And you're like, "What? No, you didn't explain anything."
But anyway, yeah, the whole we don't know if it's the house or if it's April, but Greg decides to go out on the roof because she's kind of like luring him to the
roof, yeah.
roof, and he I think he doesn't because he's afraid he's gonna fall off or whatever. So he talks to her. They have a nice chat. They make out, and then all of a sudden, the doors of the house and the windows all just fly open. And so everyone runs out. And then it's the scene from the beginning. Or does she fall off the roof?
No, he
falls,
yeah.
and then she falls too. though.
Right. So they're like, buddy, you got to do it. Jump. That's the scene we saw at the beginning. And we're like, oh. And he falls. He's perfectly fine. She's all bloody, but she does get up and she's okay. And you're like, She goes into the house. The guy who fell asleep, ass blown out guy, still there. And she takes a shower and the movie's over. But then it keeps going.
You talked about it way too fast.
I don't remember what else happens.
Because they go back
Well,
the
yeah,
next day.
they go back the next day. But it cuts to end credits, but then they come back after the end credits.
Yeah, it's like a Marvel movie. They're like, we need to get revenge on her. She killed our friends. The police came, but they didn't find anything. But we know she's there. And they knock on the door, and it's answered by the two people that were in the car crash.
Yeah, so it's like the parent or the elderly couple.
Our daughter
And they're like, oh, our daughter
died
died 10
3
years ago.
Yeah, and then
But then you're like, wait a minute. But they said that the house was destroyed and rebuilt. Like what? She
I
died
don't
10
know.
years ago.
nothing makes sense. And then the credits happen, and then it keeps cutting back to Drew, I think. Is that his name?
We were calling him Greg, but yes.
Okay,
Oh
Greg.
yeah, Greg. Yeah, just
He's
staring
just sort of
off
staring,
into space.
like staring at the parents, and then we see
Fucking
like
Greg.
April like having a shower, and then she walks by the fridge, and you see her towel floating.
Yeah, she's like an invisible man.
Yeah.
That was
it's like,
pretty
oh,
funny.
God.
And then she's writing the credits that we saw at the beginning with the actors' names.
Yeah.
Full synergy. It's like Arrival.
I guess.
It's a circle.
Sure, Arrival.
Yeah,
Jesus
that's-
Christ! Wow. Okay,
Didn't even
that
know it
movie?
was his big inspiration.
I do remember that movie. I wouldn't make that connection. That's amazing.
Um,
We're comparing
but
this
yeah,
movie
again,
to like Christopher Nolan and Denis
we
Villeneuve.
couldn't possibly go through every kind of single weird thing that is in this
No.
movie. So I guess see it for yourself. Like,
You have
this
to.
is a baffling and very frustrating experience, but it's not boring.
No.
So I'll give it that. And I think results may vary. If you want to find this movie, it's on Tubi, and it's
on
called
Tubi.
Almost Invisible. And yeah, so I guess I am recommending it, but results may vary on your enjoyment of the movie.
Oh, I enjoyed it.
I'm not sure I enjoyed it, but I think I appreciated it maybe for what it was.
It's like one of those movies like Tenet. You have to watch it, multiple
Again.
times,
Maybe multiple
to
times, yeah.
understand the whole thing, and to like, or like Primer, where you have to watch it and kind of like piece together the timeline. I'm surprised there's not like hundreds of videos on YouTube, kind of breaking down the timeline.
Could be no one's heard
Oh.
of this movie.
Yeah.
So I see the DVD is on eBay for $30. That's too much.
Way too much.
But Grindhouse. So they also made a 7-feature collection called Grindhouse Galore: Guns, Babes, and Gore. And Almost Invisible is on that set.
Would you
Nice.
consider this a Grindhouse movie?
No, absolutely not.
No.
So if you want to email the podcast, we're at no such thing as a bad movie at gmail.com, and we're on Twitter and Instagram at no such thing pod. And if you want to support us on Patreon, we're on patreon.com/no such thing as a bad movie. And if you are on the $5 level a month, you get a bonus episode every 2 weeks. And we just recorded a fall catch-up episode, so talking about not the condiment, but movies we are catching up on.
Spoiler alert: we do talk about the
There
condiment.
might be some condiment talk in there too. So check that out. So that'll be out next week. And if you want to find me, I'm on Twitter and Instagram at April Atmansky.
You can find me on all social medias under Justin DeClue, DECLOUX.
And I'm on Twitter, Sergeant Zima, SGTZIMA.
And that's it for this week. And we're now in spooky season. Woo! So this movie, I mean, it definitely qualifies. Spooky, yes. Horror, no. But yeah, stay tuned for more fun, bad horror movies, hopefully, coming up for the rest of the month. I'm April Atmansky.
I'm Justin DeClue.
I'm very confused.
And,
Cutting hair.
and remember, there's no such thing as a bad movie.